Welcome back to the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. Miss any of those coupon codes? Want to find more information out about the sponsors that help bring this program to you each week? Find them at our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, underneath the Radio 9 tab or Money tab at the top of the page. We're going to discuss natural privacy options, Holly.
Right. So this is something where you might build a tree wall or not build, but plant a tree wall, or like a shrub and tree wall, or
natural fence.
Yeah, or bushes, or whatever you want, like
blockade,
like arborvitae. I don't know if that's considered. I guess it's a tree.
Yeah, it's a tree. Yeah. Good barrier. They get very wide and tall and can just block out a whole section of stuff.
Right. So arborvitae is obviously probably like the most well one, and it works very well in most areas, and it's very hardy too. It typically doesn't succumb to frost or freeze, so it's definitely one of the ones to consider. All of these that we're listing here are good basically between zones 3 and 6. So
check your area for what zone you're in.
Right. So we'll start here with what's called the little leaf linden. This is a tree, and it has dense dark green leaves. It does get up to 50 feet tall. So this is something where you would have to, so if you're looking for something that has privacy like at a lower height, then this would not work for that. You'd have to plant some sort of bush.
Because it has limbs, but it has a certain amount of trunk that is exposed, so you could see underneath.
Right. But if you are trying to block off, maybe you live by an apartment building or something.
Yeah.
But
now most of these do take time to grow. Yes. So it's not like you're going to see rapid growth in the first 2 to 3 years.
And this one does, bees are attracted to it. So that's always nice for the pollinators. And then there's another one that's called the viburnum, and it's a large group of shrubs. So this is something that's a little bit lower to the ground, and it can create a whole hedge. It's dark green leaves. They kind of turn to a red purple in the fall, and there is they flower little white flowers, or like white flowers, and this goes from 6 feet to 15 feet, which I think is a good height for a privacy border.
Right.
Unless you want something taller.
Let's look at what do we got here. Eastern. Okay, you can go with that one. Yeah.
So this is another one that is.
It's from ground level all the way to the tip top. It has expansion of branches and can basically create a hedge of blockage. There's no trunk to be found.
And it's good for birds. I've seen this around like parks and stuff, and you can usually hear the birds in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Next one would be Eastern white pine.
Okay. Yep. So the white pine,
50 to 70 foot tall, can grow as low as growing zone 3. Now it does have some trunk at the bottom, but it is very full. If you're trying to prevent people from looking into your property, this is not an option for you. The Eastern hemlock would be a better option for you, or arborvitaes would be another great option to completely seal off the viewing access points to your property if you're trying to hide stuff or you just want privacy.
So let's talk about this, because I've talked about birds and bees. Uh-huh. Maybe you're like, why wouldn't you just put up a fence if you're so concerned about privacy or whatever? And I think that, you could do both, or you could do like some pine trees and a fence. But I think it's nice to plant the trees. As they say, the best time to plant a tree is
10 years ago.
10 years ago or today. So it's nice to have something growing. And also it does support bees, birds, squirrels, other wildlife, what have you, whatever's in your...
Well, I've got an answer to why you just don't put a fence up.
Okay, what's your answer?
There's some HOAs and people who live in HOAs. I've never met a single person that loved the HOA they were in unless they're the president. There are certain HOAs that prohibit the construction of fencing around their property, unless the president wants it, and then he can get it. I know some stories of the president omitting his fence. But there are loopholes in some HOAs where you can't have a fence. But
Like a fence around the White House?
no, like a white picket fence. There's HOAs that no fences are allowed in the HOA.
President of the HOA? You mean?
Yes.
Okay.
But there might be some gray area where you can plant shrubbery or other items in order to prevent privacy from looking in. There also is, in certain states, agricultural criteria that if you exceed X number of square feet in your backyard of raised bed or vegetational growing space, the HOA no longer has authority over your particular property because the state government deems you as a homestead. So look at what's going on with your HOA, if you're in an HOA, and what is the criteria that allows you to jump over those people that want to try to control you. If the state says, hey, you need 900 square feet of vegetation, raised beds, or in-ground gardens, and then you no longer have to answer to the HOA because now this is in the backyard, because they are saying that you are a homestead and HOAs can't touch that.
All right. So if you want something that's fast growing,
what's that?
This is the Western red cedar.
Okay.
It's fast growing. It forms this green wall for instant privacy, and then you can prune it pretty simply. It has a nice lush backdrop, and this gets 30 to 40.
How quickly does it indicate?
Depending on the variety, 15 to 20 feet or 30 to 40 feet. I don't know how quickly it grows, but some people do have issues with deer. So, with the red
Western red cedar.
Western red cedar, thank you. So that's something to consider if you are in an area with a lot of deer. That could be a problem, but they are.
Western red cedar can grow relatively fast rate. Most sources indicate 1 to 3 feet per year once the plant is established, and can grow 2 to 3 feet annually. So
I apologize. This one is okay for deer. The arborvitaes is not as deer resistant. I didn't know that.
But also now, if you're creating a literal wall of arborvitae, I mean, whenever you plant these, you've got to figure out what the end result, just like when you're planting tomatoes, you can't shove 14 tomatoes in a 10-foot row because you got to have spacing whenever they get mature.
Right.
And at the level of maturity, whether that's 4 years or 14 years, if it is dense enough, there is very little possibility that animals are going to fight their way through that particular variety of plant or tree in order to get access to your property. Animals are creatures of least resistance. If they got to struggle to get through a bunch of arborvitaes or other plant limbs and leaves in order to get to your property, they're going to go to your neighbors.
Right. And I think this also is good to mention is you might want to go to your local plant nursery, tree nursery, whatever you want to call it, tree farm, and talk to the people and talk about your goal and what you're trying to do and what would make sense for the amount of upkeep you want. And you know what kind of, this is why local is important, because they're going to know, like, you live in this area, there's a lot of deer in the area. You live in this area, there's not so many deer, what have you. And that way you can kind of figure out what's going to work best along with what maybe you want to fill in. Or you go to the nursery and then you go to the garden center, and the local garden center can help you figure out what's like maybe a bush or a hedge or just a plant, a perennial that could do the coverage for you.
Have a budget in mind. If you go to that tree farm, here's what I'm wanting to accomplish, and here's my budget. Because anybody that's in the business of trying to serve the public and trying to meet your needs, if the more information they have, okay, you want to do this, and you have a budget of this. Okay, I can put a plan together and give you about 3 different options, the low, medium, and high, and then we can start making this vision a reality. When you don't have a number and you go there and go, well, I don't know, I may maybe 600, maybe at that, you're not going to accomplish anything.
That and how much space you are trying to cover, how much space you're trying to cover. If you say, I think it's 25 feet,
that's not going to work.
That's not helpful either, because
It's amazing if you're going to do this. Like you're going to create a natural hedge wall around. It's amazing how quickly this can be accomplished if you go and go, here's my budget, here's how many feet I have, and here's 3 options that I'm looking at. What would you recommend being the best thing? And do you have that in stock? And how quickly would you be able to put that in or provide me the plants that I can put it in? Things move a whole lot quicker when you have solid answers, instead of the guessing or the maybes or I don't knows or I'll get back to yous.
And it's also just frustrating for the people who work there.
Because they don't think you're serious.
No, they don't think you're serious. And also, if it's a busy time of year, you're just wasting their time. You're in front
You're
of
going to
other
the bottom of the list.
Right. You're in front, you're wasting other people's time who are trying to actually purchase things and make the business money. So yeah, definitely go with a plan.
We've got time for one more. Let's grab one more on the list here. And
there's one called service berries. And I've seen a lot of people don't realize they see these, but I've seen these in parking lots of grocery stores, and they get about 15 feet tall. You can eat the berries, but they prevent.
Be sure you do your research before you start eating berries off trees.
They're not super dense, but they provide like a nice screening. Mm-hmm. So like the branches are thick and full, and then when
it's not one central stalk, it's about 5 or 6 stalks coming. Yeah, like a hand coming up with pretty decent, sturdy branches on that.
So maybe you're not looking for like a full wall of foliage, but you want something that's just kind of break things up, whatever. Definitely check out the service berry because I know they do grow pretty prolifically. Joey, summer's winding down, but just because it's fall, we don't want to forget about our yards and those Japanese beetles and other grubs. They may now be hidden, but they're not far. Not only did the beetles feast on your roses and berries this summer, they laid eggs in your turf so that they can invade your yard again next year. Fight back with Phylum's Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical Bt granule that applied to lawns and specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae with an 80% plus control even in the fall.
Holly, did you know that Grub Gone is the only non-chemical choice that effectively controls grubs? And when you combine it with the best chemical grub control at very low amounts, BioAdvanced grub control products, the tough-to-kill fall season grubs, are hit with a 1-2 punch that kills them at the best rate tested, nearly 100%. This combo of the best of biology and chemistry is called IPM, Integrated Pest Management, which is the best industry practice. Mix 1.25 pounds of each per 1,000 square feet equals 100% control. Grub Gone from Phylum Bioproducts, the best combination of safety and performance.